What they do. I am Josh Jones, ESQ. Welcome to Beats, Rhymes, and Crimes Live, the number one place to get information about law and hip hop as it pertains to the culture. Number one source for legal information. You know what I'm saying? Before we get too far, I want to welcome everybody. Let us check in. Let me know where you're watching from. As always, I'm live from the 305, and we got a lot to talk about with this Young Thug trial. A little bit going on, actually not a lot, but some funny moments. So Lil Woody, Kenneth Copeland's back on the stand, been on the stand all week, and we got some moments. So we're gonna get into that. But let me know where you watching from. Like I said, I'm live from the 305, Miami-Dade County. For those that don't know, so yeah, man, I am very excited to be with y'all today. Let me know what you got going on. How's your week? Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10. How's your week been so far? I had some dope moments this week, and it's only getting better. So we're getting close to the weekend, which I know is a lot of people's favorite time. They get a chance to reconnect with family and do the things that they want to do. So 1 to 10. Let me know how you feeling. Feeling good? Feeling great? Let me know. Yeah. So I see we got some dope black lawyer. What's happening? What's happening, Trav? Dope week. Had it. Hey, that remind me of the song Goody Mob had called "Beautiful Skin," and Cujo said on a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 12. So that's what's up, man. Glad to see you doing so well. And I'm up there with you, man. I'm really very excited. School started back this week for my little man. So first grade, we're doing first grade things. Very, very exciting. I get to be what did my little girl call me? She called me Daddy Power Hero today. So that's very cool as well, man. Just living that great life, getting cases settled for my clients as well. So never no complaints. But look, man, my objective is not to hold you. We're going to jump in. Let me know if you knew about L.A. Reid and the sexual assault lawsuit that he has going against him right now. I think I had heard about it, but at the same time, it's so much stuff I really kind of don't remember. So let me know if you know about that. All right. There you go. So we're gonna jump in. We're gonna talk about L.A. Reid. So if you don't know who L.A. Reid is, he's a music executive. Started out as an artist in the group called The Deal, which also featured another artist named Babyface. So L.A. Reid and Babyface started a record label in the early 90s called La Face, L.A. Face. Put their names together, right? So they went on to have great success. Groups like TLC, Outkast, Goody Mob. I think Tony Braxton was on the label. I mean, it was popping for a while, and they both ascended and kept going. Babyface wrote many hits, and I think L.A. Reid ended up being the head of Arista. He ended up being the head of at least 1 or 2 other record labels as well. Well, there's a woman. Her name's Drew Dixon, and she filed a lawsuit against L.A. Reid, alleging sexual assault. We've talked about it. It's kind of the basis of the whole situation because a New York passed even sexual assaults that took place many years ago that would normally fall outside of the statute of limitation. Those lawsuits, there was a time where people could bring those lawsuits. Well, Drew Dixon brought one against L.A. Reid, and his attorney or attorneys attempted to have some of the counts stricken from the complaint, basically saying that there was no time, so they're outside the time to be able to bring those complaints. All right. So just to give a little background, Drew Dixon said that the assaults happened on 2 occasions in 2001, and after she turned down his advances, her budget got cut with the record label at Arista, I believe. So the first was on a private jet with L.A. Reid en route to a company-wide retreat in Puerto Rico. Quote, he asked her to sit next to him to go over materials for the presentation. And then he began playing with her hair, kissing her, and digitally penetrated her vulva without her consent. All right. So the second alleged assault took place while Dixon and Reid sat inside a car together during the company retreat. Shortly into the ride, this is a quote, Mr. Reid, again without Miss Dixon's permission or consent, began to grope and kiss Miss Dixon, who squirmed and pushed him away as Mr. Reid's driver stared straight ahead. When Mr. Reid complained and became visibly irritated with her lack of compliance, Miss Dixon froze. Mr. Reid again digitally penetrated Miss Dixon's vulva without her consent. All right. So these are the allegations that are the defense is attempting to have stricken based on them being time barred. So basically, the L.A. Reid's lawyer tried to get the false imprisonment portion and emotional distress claims stricken as untimely. So they didn't necessarily deny the other parts, but they said that those would not be available under the New York Adult Survivors Act. But the judge ended up ruling in this case, quote, the coordination of the retreat has a close nexus to plaintiff's false imprisonment claim, as the acts about which she complains occurred on the flight that was arranged in New York. Quote, while the complaint does not specifically allege that defendant instructed Arista executive Karen Kwok to tell plaintiff that other executives would be on the flight, viewing the facts in the light most favorable to the plaintiff, the court can infer that the scheme to mislead the plaintiff about travel arrangements occurred in Manhattan. So this makes sense. All right. So if you want to bring a lawsuit, you can't just bring a lawsuit anywhere. You have to bring the lawsuit in a place where there is a connection. So it could be where the events took place. It could be where the defendant is located. There's different things that would allow for you to maybe sometimes be able to pick where you want to bring the lawsuit. So there was enough action in Manhattan, though, where they filed the lawsuit in order for this to be connected to the court in Manhattan. All right. So the judge said we're on and popping. We're not going to be doing any type of striking for this case. And one other thing to note is Drew Dixon has another sexual assault related dispute with Russell Simmons. So she was definitely in the industry and someone who was working with these high level artists. So it's definitely not just a frivolous complaint. Like who is she? Where does she come from? She obviously had the acumen, the background to be working with the creme de la creme of the entertainment industry. So we'll keep watching that as well, and we'll see what happens with that other case with Russell Simmons, because we know Russell Simmons has been hiding away seemingly in Bali. So he moved over there. He's not even in the U.S. So hopefully we can continue to find out what happens, and if need be, Miss Dixon gets justice for what she says happened to her. So we got another one. Let me know if you know the artist Kehlani. She's a R&B singer. I think she's about 27 years old, and she's got some hits. I've heard her. She's cool. But let me know if you know who Kehlani is. We have talked about these cases quite a bit. We call this the Hollywood divorce. Starts off like a small town marriage, but ends in Hollywood divorce. So, which is obviously an Outkast song from the Idlewild soundtrack, right? But similar to what we saw even with the Young Jeezy dispute over custody with his child when he was going through an actual divorce, Kehlani filed for a restraining order after her ex-boyfriend filed for custody for their 5-year-old daughter. All right, so she says that the ex-boyfriend um, had been violent several times. So one of the instances that she mentioned was when he became enraged and threw a guitar at her while she was pregnant. Um, and his name is Javon Young White. I'm not sure if he's someone who you would know or not. I don't know who that is, but um, she said, "quote that he said that he felt trapped by his daughter's birth and that she had ruined his life. Quote, when he's agitated, he can't stop moving and throws his arms in the air while yelling and screaming, often throwing items and calling me horrible names," she said. "It scares me, and I can imagine it is very upsetting to a small child." She also said that he self-medicates with marijuana, psychedelics, often in his daughter's company, similar to how Jeezy's ex-wife said that he kept guns all over the place around their young child. So the temporary restraining order was granted. It's set to expire in a couple of weeks, and it 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 states some stuff. I mean, the man can't. I was a little surprised. So it says that he's been ordered to stay at least 100 yards away from Kalani, the girl, and the school of the girl. He also cannot possess firearms or ammunition, or travel anywhere outside of Los Angeles County with the child, or apply for passports or travel related documents. They believe that he's a flight risk to abduct the child, which sounds a little wild, but that's what they're saying. So I hope that this is not just a plot to be able to get an upper hand in a custody battle. We've seen that in the past with other cases. Obviously, she just because she waited 2 weeks after he applied for custody, filed for custody to file for the restraining order, doesn't mean it didn't occur. But we will continue to watch that. Even in other instances, I think it was shown to a certain degree that other accusations with dealing with custody with I always forget her name, but you know Akila and the B, where she accused the boyfriend of being someone who was violent. It kind of came out that it was a little exaggerated in that situation. So hopefully, this is not a case of that, and they're able to work things out that so that it works out in the best interest of their baby. Because at the end of the day, that's what the courts care about, is making sure that the children are taken care of and are safe. All right. So Ye's got a lot going on. He's got the new album. He's got, you know, kids, traveling and doing things all over the place. I saw Northwest was in New York on her own, and his wife was having dinner with the kids and all types of stuff. But let me know if you ever listened to the Sunday choir he started back in 2019. Yeah, so Ye started a choir back in 2019, and they've had some kind of like church unordinary type situations where they perform with like DMX and other like more secular performers as well as gospel performers, and a lot of people think and thought it was dope. Throughout the years, there have been challenges where some of the artists said they weren't paid appropriately. They actually filed a lawsuit against Ye, and now he's having issues with the IRS. So this is our segment, Money Talks, and basically the Sunday Choir was a tax exempt entity, and it lost its tax exempt status for failing to file its taxes for 3 years. So if you don't file taxes for 3 years to show, whatever revenue was generated by the nonprofit, the IRS will take away the nonprofit status, right? So I worked with nonprofits in the past, and it's not always the biggest deal. It's not the end of the world. You can get your back, especially if it's the first time. There are certain things you have to do in order to get your tax exempt status back, so that your organization doesn't have to pay taxes, and you can continue to serve the world in a way so that the money goes to better use than just taxes, essentially. And then let me know if you have a nonprofit organization or a for-profit organization. Type 1 in the chat if you have a nonprofit, 2 if you got a for-profit, and 3 if you want to have one or the other. I'm just curious. I want to see who's in here. Something that a lot of people wrongly believe is that if you have a nonprofit, the only well, no, what people believe is that the only way to get grants is if you have a nonprofit. However, for-profit organizations also can qualify for certain grants. So you just got to read the grants. You got to see what the criteria is, and you have to put your application out there. And if you don't know, a lot of people don't know how to, write compelling grant applications. Well, I have a guy named Guy who gets grants, and he has an organization called Access Grant Ed, where he's helping people every day to be able to do that. And if you want to get connected with Guy and the Access Grant Ed team, definitely reach out. We can connect you, make sure that you're getting those resources. So, you know, let me know what you got. Actually, I have a nonprofit where we help local students in South Florida to get scholarships to attend HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. We actually just had the first 8 students who we awarded this year, about 17 or 18,000. Don't quote me. Dollars that's being split up amongst those kids, going to different schools. I know the overall winner is a Howard student. There's another student I think that is going to Howard. There's one for Tennessee State, one from Spelman. Are the ones that are jumping out at me. I know there's a couple more. FAMU had at least one winner as well. So congratulations to those kids and all the kids who are going back to school. So, if you went to an HBCU, talk that talk in the chat. I want to know where you went. You already see me always representing CAU, the only university in the AUC. So you know how it is. Homecoming season's coming up. We're going to be definitely going crazy for homecoming. But yeah, let us know where you attended college, or if you didn't go to an HBCU, but there's one that you love more than the rest, let us know that as well. Always want to know where you repping. All right. So it's been a while, but we talked about it when it first came out. And this is actually our What the Florida story. We're going to do it a little out of order today, but Susan Larynx was arrested last year for fatally shooting her neighbor, Akija Owens, who had 4 children. If you remember, Susan was having a dispute with Ms. Owens' children where she threw a pair of roller skates, hitting one of the kids on the feet. And it wasn't the first time that these neighbors in the apartment complex, had feuded. The police were well aware of the feud, and it had been ongoing for quite some time. Well, after this occurred, Miss Owens went to Susan's crib, knocking on the door, trying to, find out what was happening, and why she threw skates at her children. And without even opening the door, Susan took a 380 handgun and shot through the door, fatally killing Ms. Owens. Right. At the time, she had children aged 12, 9, 7, and 3, leaving these children without their mother. So she was arrested. It was found that her actions were not justifiable. Her trial is going on. Today is the day for closing arguments. She decided not to testify, which is everybody's right as a defendant. You don't have to testify in your own defense. It's the prosecution's job to prove that you did it, not for you to prove that you didn't. Instead of her testifying, her defense team called 3 expert witnesses who testified on ballistics and crime scenes. So I anticipate that either later today or early next week there's going to be a verdict. But hey, which one is it, man? You can't be playing both sides of the fence, or maybe you got both, or should have both. I don't know. We're talking about what type of business Dr. Brock has. As you know, he has a company that helps people to become licensed insurance adjusters, and it's getting busy out there with the hurricanes right now. So yeah, so Susan Lorinx, Lorincz. I'm not really sure how you say that. She is being tried right now. The jury is made up of an all-white panel with 6 jurors, which is kind of a light panel for a manslaughter case, I would think. But we will definitely be talking back next week about that and let you know her fate with regard to that sentence. And actually, I'm gonna save something else for the what the Florida. We got something else. All right. So we're gonna move on to patrolling the police. And actually, when we say police, we use that term loosely. But there was a judge who we're actually looking at today, and I heard about it this morning listening to the Breakfast Club. Something I don't do a lot, but this judge in Detroit, his name's Kenneth King, and while some kids were on a field trip that was set up by a nonprofit organization, a young lady fell asleep, and Judge Kenneth King decided that he was going to have her handcuffed and put into a jail jumpsuit. And he said, I wanted this to look and feel very real to her, even though there's probably no real chance of me putting her in jail. So it's a crazy situation to hear about. But like, yeah, just being there on a field trip, this young girl was placed in, a 15-year-old girl was placed in handcuffs in a jumpsuit. And he lectured at her, very sternly. So her mother said that she is hurt and feels scared. And he's been removed from the bench pending some training to address the situation. I've heard that he also has gotten some death threats. We got a Prairie View alum out here. Shout out to Prairie View. I heard y'all's homecoming was like that, man. So I'm gonna have to check that out. If not this year, maybe next year. All right. So yeah, man. I don't know what's happening in Michigan with these judges, but they're out of control. We got this other judge who we're gonna watch, and you'll see stuff that happened in his courtroom.
It's trespassing. I could technically leave, and you guys could issue a warrant as long as I don't return. You can kiss my. This is.
You know what? No. I'm gonna tell you what. You don't come in. You don't. Okay, that's contempt. That's 93. Keep going. That's another 93. That's another 93. That's another 93. That's another 93. That's 6 93s consecutive.
Well, this is Darrell Jarrow, who you heard swearing at Judge.
On the call, watch that entire interaction go down. Let's go ahead and check out his reaction.
That's another 93. That's another 93.
So yeah, so we got this guy. He was watching on Zoom because he was going to appear for his court hearing via Zoom, and this is his reaction as he's seeing this, waiting on his turn to go next.
That's another 93. That's 6 93s consecutive.
Now, this isn't the first time a crazy moment has happened in Judge Simpson's courtroom. In May, you may remember, he heard a case of a man accused of driving with a suspended license, and the man was driving during that hearing.
So yeah, so my man is the same judge. That's my man right there.
I could technically leave, and you guys could issue a warrant as long as I don't return. You can kiss my. This is.
You know what?
Yeah, so that's my guy right there. The judge who you just saw, Cedric Simpson, and he struck again. My man thought he was gonna be able to go up in this courtroom and play with him, but not so much. He counted out 6 different times, and it was actually more than 6, but he counted out 6 different times that the gentleman cussed at him. Every time he cussed, he said, that's another 93. 93 times 6 is 558 days. And That's like a year and a half. He's gonna be doing some time. 558. I'm just gonna try to figure it out. 558 minus 365, 193. Yeah, it's like a little bit more than a year and a half. And he said consecutively, not concurrently. So when your sentence runs concurrently, they could say 20 years, 20 years, 20 years, and they all run concurrently. That means you're going to be sentenced to serve 20 years. But if they say concurrently, I mean, excuse me, 20, 20, 20 consecutive, then you're facing 60 years. So my man went in there about a trespassing situation where he wasn't probably facing any time, and ended up with a year and a half sentence. So I'm sure he's going to try to appeal that, but you can't just go up in the courtroom and do what you want to do. So anyhow, I thought that was hilarious. And we finally made it to talk about the Young Thug case. So they have been in court this week. They are in court, all right? But the jury is not present. So if you remember him, Kenneth Copeland, Lil Wody, was on the stand back in early June, and he didn't want to testify. He ended up going to an ex parte proceeding without the presence of the, well, obviously not. So an ex parte proceeding is when one side is not present with the judge. So it could be the plaintiffs or the prosecution with the judge, or it can be the defense and the judge. But either way, there's one party to the case that's not a part of it and not aware of it. I agree, man. What kind of bull crap is that? Think you're gonna be able to go up in that courtroom and just say what you want to say, right? So there you go. We have that. Anyway, they brought Kenneth Copeland back to the stand after they got a new judge, and now they've been, having him to testify again to see what he, how he's going to testify, and they're saying that basically all of it. Well, first, let me show you, just in case you don't remember, but this is new, but you might remember seeing him before. So here's Lil Wody.
Now, Mr. Copeland, the women on that call, was one Deshaun your girlfriend?
I don't recall.
Okay. Is the other individual Max or Dolly White?
I don't recall.
And is the last male that we hear, is that Jeffrey Williams or Thug?
I don't recall.
Now, back in 2015, you talked about the gun that Quindarius Zachary bought for you, or Little D from Cleveland purchased for you. Do you remember talking about that?
I don't recall.
Okay. To your knowledge, did Mr. Williams ever tell Little D to purchase that gun for you?
Huh?
The gun that was found at the Dunbar Center?
I'm listening.
Okay. To your knowledge, at any point, are you aware if Mr. Williams or Thug told Little D to get that gun from you?
Because it sounds funny in it.
Okay. You need me to repeat my question?
You said, did Mr. Williams tell me to get...
No, excuse me. Let me rephrase. The gun from the Dunbar Center.
Uh-huh.
To your knowledge, did Thug tell Little D to get that gun from you?
From me?
Yes.
He don't know. No, I don't know. No.
Your answer is no?
Huh?
Your answer is no?
I ain't never heard none of this stuff you talking about.
Do you recall telling the detective in your 2015 interview that it was your understanding that Thug told Little D to get that gun from you?
I don't recall. I tell the detectives anything they want to hear.
So that's been the position he's been taking the whole time. Back on the stand, he's been saying, "Look, I'll tell the police whatever they want to know, whatever they want to hear. I'm not telling them just want to get the heat off of me. So I'm not a snitch. I'm just telling the detectives whatever it is they want to hear, right? But he spent most of the time saying, "I don't recall," and I guess he's got a aspiration still because he was trying to be a rapper in the past, um, and he still has those aspirations. So he's got some music, man, that he released on Tuesday after his testimony, and I'm gonna play a little bit because Lil Wodie's been the key person in this whole thing. It's been 8 weeks, and now he's back. So here's his new track that he dropped related to the case. Got some technical difficulties. Having a bad internet connection today, so I apologize. But yeah, man. Here we go. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Hey, run, still on the run. I'm a dog, all four, back with seals on the floor. Digit scale, weighted low. Can't disrespect the bro. Get some tissue, wipe your nose. Drive by, plenty dough. 20 bitches, plenty hoes. Stand on business, play your role. Fuck them hoes, don't let them know the business. I don't know them nigga, I just know they spinning. Don't be asking me about no code finish. Don't keep asking me how a nigga get it. Nigga talk tough, then the nigga see me go the other way.
The interesting thing is that what they've been doing in court all week has been showing him his previous statements, and because the prosecution, he's a prosecution's witness, right? And now they've given him immunity. But now in today, 2024 time, he's saying he doesn't remember anything. But there's hours and hours and hours. They've been showing hours and hours and hours of footage, like what I'm about to show you right now, of him talking with detectives, and he knew all types of stuff. So the internet was going crazy. People in the chat talking about how much of a rat he was, because you look at him, you see he talked like he's standing 10 toes down. But we're gonna show right now, and this is, I believe, it's gonna be live. So here we go. Okay, so actually it took a break, so we'll just go back.
It is. And I know you don't want to go that shine, but I'm telling you.
And you're trying to convince him to testify. Give him some information. It's just you. Everybody trying to kill you.
Because I ain't supposed to stay down there night. She put me out. You did, yeah. And then when they bring the cup out, she leave. So when I wake up, shit, I just want to be on the door. Bring that body. I mean, all I got to see is police. I was so scared. I was what they doing here. I mean, so I don't know.
Type 1 if after watching this you think Lil Wodie's a rat. Type 2 if you think it's every man for himself.
You, Tayshawn, and the baby. Go somewhere else. Start fresh. You don't know nobody. Try to live a regular life.
Oh yeah, no, man. What's that?
But that's
Charlie, sitting that it's just like.
They tell him to take his lady, take his baby, and just get out of town after he testified.
That thing is on you. When you, let's say this, you get charged with all this, maybe 2, which I doubt, but 2 years, and they say you got to go do your 2 in jail there. What do you think gonna happen?
You have to go to prison for this? You can't if you're convicted.
You're a convicted felon, bro.
So what can I do to make you straighten up? I don't know why I do whatever, man. I don't know. I do whatever, man. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Dang.
I do whatever.
I do whatever I gotta do. I'll do anything you tell me.
Because last Thursday, Miss Kim Dameron, U.S. attorney, like this.
So yeah, man. So it's going on and on, but I mean, having these tech issues, but it's just going on and on, man. So my man was talking real hard. I don't recall. I don't know. He's talking about, say what? Nah, I ain't said that. What you talking about? Nah. But now he talking. But it's for the prosecution because he is one of their key witnesses. And what can you believe about what he says? Almost none of it sounds credible. He said, look, man, I'll lie, I'll say anything. And that's the most believable thing, is that he will say anything. So I don't know what's going to happen for Thug and them, but if I was Thug in them, I would be like, if this is the best that they got, I feel pretty good about my chances to beat these charges, right? Remember, though, if you ever, and another thing, it's just a wild case, bro, because earlier in the week, his lawyer got suspended from the bar for 6 months and therefore was unable to represent him. They had to go and find a new lawyer who could represent him on short notice, because obviously, even though he has immunity, he also wants to be sure to not incriminate himself for things that are not covered for that under the immunity. So crazy times, man. So let me know. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's been in the news, but did you hear anything about Disney getting sued this week about a wrongful death case and using the subscriber agreement from Disney Plus as a defense for why they should not have to go to trial? Yep. So there was a doctor from New York who died while eating at a restaurant at Epcot in Disney World in Orlando. And the doctor's family says that the doctor very much alerted them to the allergies that existed so that they would not cross-contaminate the food. And it happened anyway, and the doctor ended up dying. So as a result, the family filed a wrongful death lawsuit, right? So the family's from New York. This happened down in Orlando. And Disney cited the terms of use from the subscriber agreement from Disney Plus as a reason for why their case should not go to court, but instead should go to arbitration, which is wild. But because not only did the guy, they never even actually signed up for Disney Plus. They did a free trial and then canceled it. So he never even was like a paying customer of that for Disney. But his lawyer responded saying that, quote, the notion that the terms agreed to by a consumer when creating a Disney Plus free trial would forever bar that the consumer right to a jury trial in any dispute with any Disney affiliate or subsidiary is so outrageously unreasonable and unfair as to shock the judicial conscience, and this court should not enforce such an agreement. And I agree. So that was in a filing for about a week and a half ago. Disney says that we're merely defending ourselves against the plaintiff's attempt to include us in their lawsuit against the restaurant. So that's what they wrote in an emailed statement. They say they do feel bad for the family. But man, Disney, what the Florida are you doing? I almost said the other WTF. What the Florida y'all got going on? What y'all doing, bro? You cannot try to use a contract from one interaction with Disney as a rationale to keep people from ever bringing a case against Disney for any other thing. It's just not the same thing. If I go to Disney World and I get hurt, I'm not bringing a case against Disney Plus. I'm bringing it against Disney World. So the restaurant was at Disney World in the Epcot, and because of that, they brought them in because you can't do. There's something called delegation of duty, where basically you can't say, well, they're responsible for that. They're on our property, but we're not responsible for that. They're responsible for that. Everybody shares the duty to make sure that certain things take place. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what the attorney is arguing for, why Disney World is responsible for what happened at the restaurant on their property. But it's wild, man. I mean, it makes you almost not want to go to Disney World, right? Like if I'm gonna be held to that standard for anything that happens, like Disney owns a lot of stuff. They own Disney World, Disneyland, ESPN, like it just goes on and on. They got Disney Plus, they have all types of interests. So you don't even know when, you wouldn't even necessarily have a way of knowing when the arbitration clause would even apply. Totally unfair to their customers. Has Disney out here looking very bad. Whether they're going to be able to legally have this arbitration provision enforced, I don't know, but it definitely looks bad for Disney, man. What the Florida. But if you do ever have any type of wrongful death case or serious injury case, those are the types of cases that we handle. We have attorneys all across the country who we work with, and we can get you to the right place to make sure that the attorneys are going to make the right arguments for you, and you're going to be able to get justice in your case, to have the best chance to get justice in your case. But I agree. Come on, Disney, really? You know what I'm saying? Walt Disney, with his racist self, would never. That goes against almost everything that Disney World is supposed to represent, as the happiest place on earth, and the types of things that they say are the values of Disney World and the Disney Corporation. So yeah, I hate to see that, and I agree. He looked like a snitch right there. He was telling. I mean, what you want to know? If he knew something about you, he'll tell that too. But you know how they say, we are. If you ever want to know that your co-defendant will not snitch on you, don't have a co-defendant, right? Don't commit crimes with other people. That's my theory. You ever hear that I committed a crime with Dr. Trav? It is not true. I would never do it. So, and I don't believe he would either, but I'm just saying that because he's been in the chat. So y'all see him. But I appreciate y'all coming out, man. It's been a great time with y'all. We're gonna be back next week. It's gonna be better. Hopefully these tech issues don't exist, and we're gonna keep bringing you these stories. Appreciate y'all, man. See y'all next time.